EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martin here with your outlook for March 22nd, 2019. For your Friday, we're going to start off with some showers this morning. The system is pulling away, and up here in the far northeastern corner of northeast PA, we'll have some snow that will be continuing and generally accumulating in the higher elevations up here in the Poconos. This will be ending right around mid-morning this morning, or maybe just after that. But it will be pulling away, and then you'll get a little bit of a break here once we get into the afternoon hours. Once we get later in the afternoon, we'll have some wraparound snow showers that will move through. Some of this might be falling as snow in even pretty far south, maybe not this far south, down to I-78, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some snowflakes mixing in down to that area as well, even though the temperatures are going to be well into the 40s because the upper levels are still very cold. So it might be one of those deals where it's falling as like a snow or a snow rain mix or a graupel or something like that, some kind of weird precipitation types and going in, not sleet or freezing rain. I think we're just dealing with either snow or graupel or a mix of rain and snow. That goes about I-78 south of there. It's going to be way too warm, and you're probably just dealing with rain showers. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of those do come through this afternoon. But it is going to be milder this afternoon, so any of that snow up here in those higher elevations, in the very highest elevations, like way up there, above 1,500 feet, actually they did a little bit well with this as far as several inches of snow accumulating. But everywhere else, pretty much has had a white rain situation or just very light slushy coating to an inch or two type accumulations, until you got way up in the elevations overnight. So I don't think during the day, late afternoon here, you're really going to get into too much because it's still going to be a little bit mild before that colder air moves in. And as we go through the course of the evening, the NAM is still trying to put some snow up here in northeast PA again. So I can see these areas getting another, coating to an inch or two in some spots, especially in higher elevations, going into Friday evening. So that is the NAM high-res future simulated radar. This is what it did in terms of accumulations. And when I go through these videos, and people think we're downplaying a lot of things. It really wasn't downplaying this. We just looking at some marginal temperature of these soundings and saw that there wasn't really a lot of support for some very heavy snow. Now, when you get up in these very highest peaks here, see these purples that are up here? These are where the heaviest accumulations occur, but it also coincides with where the highest elevations are. But if you see that 9 spot right there, right here in the middle, it might be hard to see on the video. There was not 9 inches of snow at Mount Pocono, as indicated here. Didn't happen. So these snow maps you have to take with a grain of salt. We're not looking at snow maps. We're looking at model soundings and extracted data, not only at the surface but going up in altitude, and seeing what the temperatures are there. Maybe it supports a lot of these areas supported snow falling. We saw that, of course, overnight last night again this morning. But a lot of the places, until you get up in elevation, you can really see some of that sticking with and accumulating. So a couple places got several inches, but most places got just a few or less. So not a big deal. This is going to be out of here. And then what falls this afternoon, of course, is going to be mostly just this snow shower stuff falling, but not really sticking. And you see that in the afternoon. But then once we get later in the evening, you will see some sticking up here in the higher elevations again as we get into the evening hours and it gets a little bit colder. Before the system completely pulls away. And the global models are showing this too, but the big thing today is going to be the wind. We have high pressure that's out here going to be moving toward the region, and at the same time this low right here is going to bomb here in the Gulf of Maine or near northern New England. So the pressure gradient between these two and the differences of pressure between the two is creating a very tight gradient, and you see that by the isobars very close together. That means we're going to have very windy conditions. It's going to pick up today, most likely more so this afternoon, and then once we get into the evening and overnight, it's going to be really windy, and I think you're going to have some wind gusts in there that are easily in the 40 to 45 mile per hour range, and that's going to go right into Saturday, I think. So here's a look at late afternoon. You see that the isobar is pretty tight here, and you also see some very light precipitation working its way through, whether that's, again, rain or snow or graupel or a mix thereof. That will be moving through later in the afternoon and during the course of the evening. Again, some minor accumulations up here in the highest elevations of the Poconos once again. And then here's the gradient overnight. You see how tight these are? They got even tighter. So this is our windiest time frame. It's going to be in the evening and overnight hours. It really doesn't let up here late in the overnight. It's still very tight, but you see that high pressure moving in right here. still that bombing pressure. That's very close together. You have 1027 high and a 981 low. So, I mean, the difference in there is pretty steep and allowing for these winds to channel in between. So as we get further in time here on Saturday, still windy on Saturday morning, but I think in the afternoon we start to diminish. So our windiest time frame is definitely Friday evening, Friday night into early Saturday morning, and then we start to gradually diminish after that point. And we will have probably breezy conditions at least through the afternoon, but at least mid-afternoon before we get down to reasonable levels. So keep that in mind for the next 48 hours. That's really going to be the big story, not really the snow. And I don't want to downplay it further. I know some folks that live up here in these higher elevation areas here, but relative to the entire area we cover, which is these 4 states right here, this is a very small area. And we did address it on our weather alerts page, and you're just not trying to downplay it so much, but the bigger story is going to be the wind and the concern for power outages associated with that. We just had a lot of rain with that system yesterday, so trees will be more susceptible to getting knocked over, and branches and things like that. So the good news is we will be drying out this weekend. Partly cloudy and windy, especially early here on Saturday. Then it's going to be mostly sunny here on Sunday. Much warmer, though, because high pressure is now off the eastern seaboard, so we get a southwesterly flow around that high, and we get temperatures well into the 50s, in some areas 60 degrees here on Sunday. And then we have another system that's going to bring a few showers ahead of a front. This is not looking like a big deal right now on Monday. Everybody was saying, oh, there's going to be this big snowstorm next week. Well, that didn't happen. Okay, so this is basically just a front moving through and a few showers along that frontal boundary. Not a real big deal as modeled right now. Just a few rain showers ahead of that front, and that's it. No wintry side to it. And low pressure that forms along it is going to be well south and east of the region and moving southeast, so it's moving away from the region, not moving toward us. And that front moves through. Then we get colder for a couple days on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, but it will be mostly sunny both days. There's Tuesday and there's Wednesday. Thursday, we will turn milder once again. So we're going to have this back and forth every 2 or 3 days. If you don't like the weather now, wait 2 or 3 days, and it's going to be completely different and a lot milder. That's going to be the case here on Thursday. So Thursday we turn milder again, probably milder for a couple days again. You know, it's going to be this for the next 2 weeks, generally the same thing. 2 to 3 days, 2 to 3 days, 2 to 3 days, periods of cooler than average and then slightly warmer than average. And just going back and forth with time. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Marchers. That is your outlook for March 22nd, 2019. Have a great Friday.